Heavy pressure. Huge blow to the morale of Russian soldiers.
Today, the Ukrainians finished liberating the Kharkiv region. The Russians still controlled the area to the east of the Osila River, but this is around 5% of the hardship region, which is virtually an empty ground that has no big settlements and supply centers. This means that in 5 days the Ukrainians haven't done months of Russian efforts. In fact, in 5 days the Ukrainians liberated more than the Russians managed to capture since April. On top of that, the Russians of behind 20 working tanks, 20 tanks that can be repaired, 50 armored fighting vehicles, 10 artillery systems, and more than 100 units of other machinery, which of course will be used against the Russians. This is a huge blow to the morale of Russian soldiers, especially to those who are under the heaviest pressure, to those who are fighting in the south. In fact, today there are new reports of Russians backing down. I cannot tell you right now whether it happened as a result of tactical retreat or abandonment of positions, but the latest news definitely did not inspire them to fight harder. A few days ago, it was reported that the Iranians breached the Russians' defense near Blahodachka. Yesterday, it was reported that the fights are taking place 15 kilometers away from the Crescent City. So in my assessment, the Russians lost Blaho.net and a trend to defend Kaselika. Some Russian sources indicated that the fights are taking place in front of Chicago. The declines continue expanding their bridgehead on the eastern bank of the Inculet River. I have also seen some reports suggesting that the process of evacuation has been started in political Alexandria, VCA. In my estimation, it is because of a tangible threat of an attack from the north. Finally, when it comes to Arhangelsky, the situation here remains ambiguous and have previously the control over it was split 5,050 then. Now after all Conversa, Copeland Novesk fell, the situation for the Russians has worsened. Overall, the Russians here are on the brink of collapse, and they know it because they are trying to reinforce the front as much as possible. Even though because of destroyed bridges it is very hard to do so, especially given how tightly Ukrainian artillery controls the passages. I think all of you have seen the videos where a few minutes after Russian convoy enters the passage, it gets caught under artillery fire. So Russian troops in the Kherson region are in a very dire situation. And the extent is hard to underestimate because recently the Russian troops on the eastern bank of the Dnipro River received an order to shoot everyone that tries to cross it. It was supposedly addressed to the civilians, but I do not think that the civilians are considering swimming across the river as much as the Russian troops on this new line. Now let me go back and tell you exactly what happened in the Kharkiv region when it comes to the northern line. Yesterday, the Ukrainians stopped on the line voltage Blake-Borau-Bachensky. Yesterday, I assumed too quickly that the Iranians established control over above Chansky. It turned out that even though they entered it, the Russians were still there because they reached an agreement with the Ukrainians to let them evacuate. But in any case, it does not change the situation in any way, because they still meant that the towns on the line will capitulate as well, and very soon they did. And by the evening there were already photos even from Barbarica, which indicates that the Ukrainians indeed reached the administrative border. Moreover, the Russians also started leaving their positions even to the north of Kharkiv, and today the Ukrainians entered such important Russian strongholds as Kasachia, Lepinto, Karyoka, Hope, Tipka, and Lipk. When it comes to the southern line, things are not ending as smoothly. Today, I finally found an update regarding Yampy, and it is still under the Russians. Dogfights in Lamont continue to take place. Regarding the Shenk, it seems like the attack was launched from Periodica, this small village that the Ukrainians spot so hard to retain control over, so it was finally put to good use. Nonetheless, some sources suggest that the Ukrainians still have not entered Lysychansk, even though they are indeed in front of it. Other sources say that the Ukrainians received a doctor above in the area of Spirina. So the front line is not collapsing easily here when it comes to declaring an attack launched from Sloviansk. It was quite successful, and today the Ukrainians already raised their flag in Jeremka. Some sources indicate that not all forces managed to retreat and some got stuck and encircled. I did not find credible confirmations, so the following is just my speculation. Due to the fact that the Zoom group had to retreat under heavy pressure from the attacking forces from the south, the only RD that they could use was leading through the town of Ossel. However, Ossel is connected to the northern part of the Zoom. Given that their craniums entered the northern part of Izum yesterday, it indicates that the Russians could no longer use the last available road, and given that some sources still reports filed here, it seems like some forces indeed got stuck. But we will find out the real situation very soon. In the aftermath of losing so much territory, the Russians were seen launching cruise missiles from the Black Sea. Shortly after that, a partial blackout happened. In the Kharkov summit, new proprietors Poltava and Donetsk regions' local officials reported that the Russians struck a number of critical infrastructures, such as thermal power, the lens, and substations. This sent huge shock through the Ukrainian energy system. The operation has already started, and local officials promised that the problem should be fixed very soon.